Thank you so much for joining us today on Take 10. We come to you every week with a look at a variety of mental health and related issues as they impact caregiving and care recipients. I'm Ron Aaron, along with our co-host, Dr. Jamie Huysman, Chief Compassion Officer at WellMed Medical Management. Dr. Jamie is known nationally for his work as a psychotherapist dealing with addictions and caregiving as well. And Carol Zernial, who is someone that you all have heard many times as our co-host on Caregiver SOS On Air. Carol holds a master's degree in social gerontology, 30 years experience in the field. She's co-chair of the Raise Family Caregiving Advisory Council and executive director of the WellMed Charitable Foundation. So, Dr. Jamie, you're the therapist and we're not. I saw a very interesting article, which I sent to you and to Carol, that talks about concern over AI therapists. So somebody may enter into a counseling session, totally artificial intelligence on the other end. They don't necessarily know it, and in many cases, they're getting really bad advice. How do you protect yourself, and how do you know you're talking to a live, real human?
You know, as licensed professionals, we're being taught now a whole lot about ethics and values and artificial intelligence and behavioral health. And why is that? Well, there's always a great side, believe it or not, unfortunately, in our society for AI and behavioral health. We've really diminished behavioral health over the last 150 years. We began looking at it in this country, and it's a shame and stigma issue. So we don't have enough psychiatrists. We don't have enough social workers and people to provide access properly as behavioral health becomes more well-known over time. Unfortunately, that is the case. So with AI, we can actually provide access. You know, you can literally download clinically a powerful sort of database and resources for people to have at 3 a.m. before anything, God forbid, happens, or at 2 p.m, or if they can't provide access, an AI therapist. However, I believe AI should be incorporated in the continuity and continuum of care, meaning it's a good thing to see a good therapist and have established an emotional connective relationship with one. You obviously are going to see them only once a week for an hour, right? There's 23 hours in a day and 6 more days. AI should be available throughout to continue the lessons, to continue the grounding exercises, the emotional regulation techniques, et cetera. And then your therapist should incorporate that into it and be very clear what is AI and what is not.
Well, so what if you don't know you're dealing with AI? The story that Ron sent us were people communicating and they thought they were talking to an online therapist.
Yes. And you know what? This is crazy. And I was having a discussion with one of our leaders at WellMed around behavioral health and AI. And interesting enough, they have done studies, and something written by AI and something written by a therapist are fairly indistinguishable. As a matter of fact, sometimes even the AI was more effective, it said, in some of the research. And so that piece is a piece that we're never going to get around. I mean, AI is a repository, I should say, of a lot of good clinicians who unfortunately have replaced this world with themselves, with AI. However, there's a lot of downfalls and pitfalls to AI at that point in time. We don't have the cultural things kind of programmed, people of color, the where they live, what they're doing. It's kind of a template, and it's also put in by, again, more of a majority population that doesn't kind of hit the clinical nuances. And the second piece of the AI issue is that when is a person suicidal? When's the ideations occur? When does the algorithm then switch to a live person to make sure that they don't do something dastardly, a terrible decision to kill themselves? So we have not really figured out all of that. And most of the AI people and companies I work with, most of them actually emanating in India right now, Mumbai, believe it or not. I'm really talking to them about these algorithms and when does it switch to it. But it's almost indistinguishable to a person. It is the connective bond. I want to say it really quickly because I don't want to talk too much on this topic, but in therapy, 80% of it is creating safety for a client, 20% what happens afterwards. How safe can you feel with an AI abstract or article, right?
And what if you don't know it's an AI?
And you don't know it's an AI. Well, here's the good news is that what we tell our people in a trauma-informed way, forget about reading yourself into recovery. Whether it's AI or a therapist, it's not going to help you either way. I'm going to tell you, it's not going to help you either way. I have the smartest people in the world that haven't done the clinical work necessary to get well. You can read in self-help books. You don't know if it's AI or if it's a therapist. It's actually doing the work, Ron. It's actually going to the therapist, learning the techniques of breath work, going to groups and listening to solutions with groups. The longest trip we take is from our head to our heart. So I'm not that concerned whether somebody reads AI or a therapist. I don't think it's a big deal. They may want to see it as a betrayal, but I don't think you can get well. I think creating smart people is different from creating people who are healing their lives.
Hold that thought. You just joined us. You're listening to Take 10. I'm Ron Aaron, delighted to have you with us. We come to you every week with a look at a variety of mental health issues as they affect caregiving and caregivers. Our co-hosts are here, Carol Zernial and Dr. Jamie Huysman. So, Jamie, did you say it doesn't matter if that therapist is real or AI?
I did, because actually, if you're reading this therapist or you're reading the AI version of the clinical situation, neither's really going to help you. I mean, you're cut off cognitively at your neck. You become a smarter person. You become more data driven. You understand the trends and epidemics and what the things to avoid. But do you really feel the solution? No. So you really have to experientially, for things to work, to feel it inside yourself. So we always say trauma is not what happens to you, it's what happens within you as a result of what happens to you. So it almost doesn't matter. Neither will suffice for healing your life and going and seeing a good therapist and doing the breath work and doing the meditations and the yoga and hanging around healthy people. That's the work you have to do. Don't expect there's a silver bullet in the AI version or in the therapist version of that article.
So what I'm hearing you say is, besides just the AI generated text, but if it's a chat bot, if it's somebody that, literally is the little person with the headset on picture that's chatting back and forth with you, that is also not a good alternative for therapy. And that if you, for some reason, can't afford a private, therapist, that look for resources in your community and support groups in your community that don't cost anything, where you can get some help from somebody you can look in the face and look at other people like you who are going through something similar.
I agree so much. The self-awareness you get, whether it's AI or from a therapist, needs to be pursued. We call it the road less traveled. So if you open the window up and say, wow, either way, this is pretty much hitting me in some way. Now what do I do? Then you set up experientially your own treatment plan. You reparent yourself. You find a good therapist. If you can't afford it, you can come to our foundation, the Star Network Foundation. We have free virtual groups that you experientially will do trauma recovery, mental health recovery. There's ways out there. Don't ever allow a piece of paper or an article or a book to suffice for your recovery. It should trigger that path in front of you to get better and to literally to heal your life.
Are there ethical requirements that you notify the patient that I am AI or I am a live, real therapist, a human being? Do you have to tell the patient?
Listen, I'd love that to be the case. I would hope people be sophisticated enough to know if it's a bot that they're probably getting AI, but they're not. I think that informed consent on the front end in medical or behavioral health world is always the way to go. And if it's an AI-driven article, it should say it's AI-driven. And if it's written by me at Psychology Today, it should have my name on it, okay? Because I'm not going to use AI. But either way, they're probably just as effective, except not effective in your own therapy and healing. How's that?
But we're talking about more than the written word. We're talking about, like you and I are doing now, we're talking and hearing each other. Carol's here as well. In that situation, AI has become so sophisticated that the voice emanating sounds just like a human.
Exactly. And I think it's important to understand that we do need that person or that AI voice. It's part of the treatment planning. I mean, if at 3 a.m. I want to go take a drink and my therapist is sleeping at that moment, oh my gosh, AI may be the lifesaver that stops me from the craving.
All right, out of time. All of this, Carol, reminds me of your son, Ben, imitating Hal, the computer in that incredible movie, right?
That's right.
Scary.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't allow you to do that.
There you are. Thank you, Carol Zernial, Dr. Jamie Huysman. You've been listening to Take 10. I'm Ron Aaron. We'll do it again soon. Look forward to seeing you.